Hi, today I'll go back to my preferred topic, the one I know I should keep away from but cannot. Turnarounds. As you know by now, I can't resist them, even though they often give me a heartburn, because they always take longer than I thought to work out, if they do, and meantime, they often go down lower than I thought they would. So why do I keep going after turnarounds? Two reasons. First, because being super contrary to anyone else is fun. But second, if the turnaround does work out, which many do, they pay in spades for the heartburn, plus there's the joy of telling all my friends I told you so. Okay, so what about today's clip? Today I want to go over a past stock turnaround that's beginning to work out, maybe, and a country turnaround that is working out, maybe. But remember, even though both shows signs of turning, I could still be wrong. So, first turnaround. That's ILLUMIN, ILLM-T, a Canadian software as a service company, also known as SaaS, helping advertisers strengthen their brand and capture more clients. The business is cyclical, so it requires periodic R&D bursts that raise costs and so tank the earnings and make the stock plunge. But then, as the R&D works out, the stock soars. In the past two cycles, the stock soared the first time 10 times, the second 20 times. Both times, though, after the Zoom, the stock tanked, as it again changed product and spent money. So yes, I've been in ILLUMIN before, not for both Zoom cycles, only for the second one, and not all of it, but a big part of it, before it tanked. This success seemingly went into my head, so at the end of the last cycle, at about $1 something, I pointed ILLUMIN out as a potential cyclical turnaround. Did it work out? For 2 fiddling years, it hasn't. A new CEO put in by the retiring founder did everything almost right. But unfortunately, AI came in and tanked almost all software stocks, ILLUMIN included, who went down by 60%. Ouch! And yet, all during the tanking period, the company bought back stock, as did insiders, hand over fist, since the stock was selling then at almost cash per share. In other words, it became a company with a negative enterprise value, also known as a walking wallet. Did I buy too? As a rule, I don't tell you what I buy, but I only say I can't resist a bargain. At any rate, a few months ago, the retired founder said enough is enough, retired the CEO he had brought in, and came back himself. Within a quarter and a half, the company was fixed apparently, and he just reported a splendid quarter. The stock promptly rose 40%, gave back some, but is still hanging there. Will the turnaround work out? And even if it does, will the stock repeat its past Zoom bust cycle? Will it add a multi-bagger to its past 10 times and 20 times bagger record? It might, or then it might not. So please note, I'm not recommending the stock. I'm just pointing it out to your sleuthing attention. So that's one, ILLUMIN, ILLM-T. The next one is a country turnaround, and the country is Greece. A few years ago, Greece has been a basket case. As the EU was growing, the EU was financed mainly by Germany. So Germany needed to sell stuff to make a profit and give the money to the EU. But at a certain point, though, German factories ran out of good customers to sell to. So they began to sell to the paupers, which Greece then was. But how can you sell to paupers if you know they can't pay? Well, say a German espresso machine producer sold espresso makers to a coffee house in Athens. It would then get a receivable, also known as an IOU, which the coffee maker knew probably in advance it would not be paid. So why did they sell it? Because the EU needed money and Germany was a designated sucker financier. But how did it go? Well, the German coffee maker got the Greek receivables and probably sold these worthless IOUs to a German bank at a discount, a process called factoring. Why did the bank buy them? First, they were told by the EU to buy. The EU needed money. But second, the German bankers booked the receivable as good, on which the bankers got a bonus. So everybody winked, even though everybody allegedly knew the Greek would not be able to pay and the receivables were worthless. And one day they'll be written off. as they indeed all were written off, almost tanking a few German banks in the process, not just Greece, but a few other countries too. But this is in the past. In the meantime, German banks are sort of good again, supported, most of them, by American swaps. And Greece is a prosperous country once again. But okay, you say, wait, Greece no longer owes money to German banks. But how come Greece is prosperous? From where? This prosperity is due to two facts. One is a change of government, with the communist crooks mostly out and the capitalist semi-crooks mostly in. But the other is Greece's new place in the global American empire. To know this, you must talk to people in the deep US empire who plan to clean up the Middle East via fighting Iran and via taking over Mideast oil. I have some friends, and I usually talk to them. In both cases, Greece is part of the American and Israeli strategy to make Turkey behave. And yes, I know Turkey is part of NATO, but still you have to make it behave. And by the way, Greece is an ancient enemy of Turkey, so they know how to do that. And you would know that they are ancient enemy of Turkey if you have heard of the Odyssey, the book, not the movie. So both the Americans and the Israelis who've heard of the Odyssey have close connection with Greece, which means that a lot of money changes hands, both from Israel and from the US into Greek hands. And by the way, there's also the matter of East Mediterranean oil and also the matter of US base in Greece, and well as alleged Israeli ones to defend the oil, all of which brings prosperity to the Greeks, which spills over into the Greek stock market. But you may be saying, can you really analyze a country as if it's a stock? Well, I just did exactly that, or at least something similar a few years ago, when I pointed out Argentina to you, which was an economic basket case and a corruption cleanup both at once, just like Greece was. If you recall, Argentinian stocks rose 10 times and 15 times in 4 years, as I hope you remember, because I pointed this out to you in real time several times. So you say, which Greek stocks do I mean? Well, forget stocks for now. Just focus on the Greek market ETF. Simple is GREK. It is tradable on the US exchange by a click, just like the SPY. The Greek GREK has been outperforming the SPY handily for the last 4 years, as this chart clearly shows. Look at the chart, freeze the screen, and you refer to it later on. The chart shows the ratio of GREK to the SPY. As much as this ratio rose recently, it is not even close to its peak of 3 or 4 years ago. The question is, will the ratio keep rising? That is, will the GREK ETF do better than the North American SPY? I think so, but it's only my opinion, and I could be wrong. So before I log off, let me mention the weakness in the concept. Not fatal, but there is a weakness. The most obvious one is that the GREK may indeed outperform the SPY, but if the SPY itself falls, let's say in a market crash, the GREK may fall too, but much less. And why does it matter? Because if you are an institutional portfolio manager, i.e. OPM runner, other people money runner, of which there are quite a number who watch this video, the GREK then could give you alpha against the US market, that is outperformance, which is what makes you keep your job. But if you are an individual investor, it would matter less because cash then would be king and you can hold more of it, which institutions cannot. Okay, you say, any other flaws in the idea? As usual, I suggest you do your own work and come to your own conclusions, both regarding ILLUMIN and life and about the Greek market. See them both as exercises in sleuthing. That's all for today. Please let me know in your comments below what you think of the above, and if you like the clip, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and retweet to all your friends and subscribers who they subscribe to, and buy my books, The Sleuth Investor and The Advanced Sleuth Investor, and if you like them, please write reviews about them for Amazon, which I hope will be good ones. I'll see you next time, and meantime, thank you very much for watching.